Hello, everybody. It's been a while. I'm back for another end of year special, and I am here to make another video and share what knowledge I've managed to acquire over the past year. Now, each year, I give the year I assign a word to the year that describes what that year was to me. So for 2020, it was 2020. You can't give a worse name than just the name of the year for that one. For 2021, it was the year of sin. 2022 was the year of recovery. 2023 was the year of insight. And I've decided that this year is the year of ruin. And that's due to many factors. Some in my control, others far outside of my control. And while this year has had plenty of ups and great moments, the downs unfortunately managed to far exceed it, which is a bloody right shame in my eyes, because this really could have been a much better year. But as I said, due to factors both inside my control and far outside of my control, there are many things that that just went wrong, and you know what? They've already happened. No point in stressing about them. The reason I'm here today to make a video is because, well, we're all human beings. We're all different. We all function fundamentally the same, but we all have different variations. And despite all of these variations, we're still the same species. And I've noticed a lot of people forget that. And I've been having to stress out about not only how I interact with other people and how I just casually talk to someone on a daily basis without accidentally offending them without knowing, but also in my own writing, being paranoid about offending someone that is far outside of my target audience. And at this point, I think this is a message I think a lot of people forget. A lesson that a lot of people already know, but they work backwards to teach themselves that, oh no, that's wrong. It's okay to not care. Because these people that are outside of my target audience, these people that I'm stressing out about on trying to represent them in my stories, and these people that I've never had any connection to other than surface level, if at all, it's not worth it. It's not worth the stress that I'm putting myself through. It's not worth tearing myself apart and thinking to myself late at night before I go to bed, am I doing enough? The fact is, I'm doing too much. I'm putting too much on my own plate, and I'm stressing out about all the wrong things. And because of that, I haven't gotten anything really done, and because of all that stress, it's compounded more and more and more over the past year, and it's caused some of the worst events of this year to play out, because that stress kept on compounding, and it made problems that I've already had far worse, and it turned things that I thought were dealt with years ago into ticking time bombs that just suddenly exploded in my face. So I've decided that yes, I'm going to try and write um, and try and represent people and characters in my stories, and I'm going to try my best to do them justice. But if it is outside of my ability and my skill, and I see that it's not adding anything to my story other than surface level pandering to people that will only care about me for the sake of slandering me, it's not worth it. Really isn't. I want to make stories that are worthwhile. I want to tell stories and inspire people in the way that many other stories have inspired me. I want to wake up at the end of the day and see something beautiful. I want to see someone smiling. I want to see just one single comment on something I made that this made that person smile. That's all I need. That's all I want. Because at the end of the day, I don't have that much that I really truly desire. I don't have much aim in life. I don't have many grand goals that I wish to achieve. I just want to make stories and have fun doing it and help people in the way that so many other stories have helped me. So, I'm not going to try and stress myself out over including people that I have no right of writing stories for or about. They're not... How do I say this? If I even try and I make a single mistake, just one tiny misstep, I will have the hounds of hell come out from Twitter and Tumblr and 4chan and all that, hounding me and harassing me and trying to cancel me and bury me into like 6 feet under for being an irredeemable monster because I didn't get a single detail correct. And it's not worth it. It really isn't. Because at the end of the day, these are stories. These are works of fiction. The thing about characters is they aren't people. And unless explicitly stated, allegories kind of don't exist. Like, unless it's made painfully obvious, and it's like there are clear dots that can be connected. There's no such thing as an allegory in stories. So I'd say that I'm going to write my characters as characters, not as people. Alright? I may treat them like people. I may imagine scenarios where I interact with them as if they were a person and use that as a means to better write them. But they're not people. So why should I try to write them as people? It doesn't make sense. Characters are fictional constructs. And it's not my place to try and create something real out of something that is by nature false. And we're all different. We're all human. And, I stressed myself out about it so much so that I went up and I looked up videos on YouTube about human evolution based on environment and how adaptations form over the course of thousands of years within the human body. Not because I was fascinated, not because I was curious, not because I was trying to improve the quality of my craft, but because I was so paranoid, because I was so stressed out about writing people that I know nothing about. Because I was so scared that someone would come after me for not pandering to them, for not including the group that they are in. And yes, representation is important. It is absolutely important. I will not say anything against that. But I'm not the person to do it. I may not, because, simply put, I have yet to reach the level of skill where I can have that confidence. I do not have the confidence to be able to represent other people's in the real world in my stories in a manner that I cannot guarantee wouldn't offend at least someone. Everybody's going to be offended by my story nonetheless, but it's a manner of mitigation. I remember that roughly a little over a year ago, I had been donated a list of characters, and one of them had been especially challenging to write because they were a trans character. And nothing wrong with being trans. You do you. I'm all for it. But, here's the thing. That's well out of my ballpark. I had never written a character like that before. I had never crafted a story involving a character like that before. And I had to fine-tune character interactions for that character. And I had to go out of my way to rewrite the backstory for that character because it was a total mess. And bend over backwards just to make it plausible. Just to make it so then that character would reasonably be able to exist within the confines of the world that I created. And for it to take out all the little loopholes and details that would have made that character completely impossible to exist. So you see my problem here. I did all this work that I never needed to do to make a character that I have no skill in making, because that character simply isn't within the confines of my skill. It's not in the confines of my writing style even. As I said, it was a character that was donated to me. It was one of the many characters that I was just given a list from my ex take these characters, I'm not using them ever again, do whatever you want with them. So I did. And because of this, I've made so little progress. I've been focusing on this little detail that won't even be relevant throughout most of the story. And this character that won't even get that much screen time because I felt scared. Scared that I would do something wrong. Scared that if I didn't include this character, that I'd have a bunch of people accusing me of being all kinds of phobic when I'm not. And I kept focusing on these tiny details that really I should not have, because it does nothing for the story. It does nothing for the character even. But I focused on it anyways, and it hampered my ability to write the story at all. I have barely added a page, or even a page or two, since I started working on that character. Because of how scared I was. Scared that I wouldn't live up to the expectations that I set for myself, the standards that I hold so highly that I just have to meet. And all these different things, all these different factors, I don't have the confidence to do it. I don't believe enough in my skill that yes, I've honed over the past 5 years, but I am not a master. Not in the slightest. Even professionals can have the skills of amateurs. Alright? I've not been in this industry at all This is something that's completely alien to me. And because of that, I'm not able to do it justice with confidence. I want to create stories worth telling. I want to create characters and arcs and a plot that inspires people, makes them smile, makes them laugh, makes them cry, makes them despair, makes them hope. I want someone, after reading my story, at the end of the day, to be able to shed a few tears without any sense of fear of judgment, and stand up and be confident. Confident that they can go on in life and do the best they can, and that the best is all they can do. Shit happens. Stuff is outside of your control, and that's okay. I try to show that in my stories. As long as you do your best, no one can blame you. No one can hold it against you. As long as your intentions are good, and you do the best you can to carry out the actions that you believe are right, judging yourself by your own standards and morals, not by the ones that other people force upon you. That's all that matters. I try to do that in my own stories. But I've been so dragged down because I haven't been able to, because I've been focusing on all these details that I shouldn't have. All these elements that are outside my purview. All these things that I have no experience in, and that I forced myself so far out of my comfort zone that it had the reverse effect. Because as a wise artist once said, you should not force yourself so far out of your comfort zone that you stagnate. But you should not stay so far inside your comfort zone that you should stagnate. So get to the edge. Right to the edge of your comfort zone. And go from there. Push just a little bit from there. And then, once that's been pushed out enough, go to the edge again. Push. Go to the edge again. Push. And then that thing that was way far out is now right inside. And writing characters representing real-world cultures outside of surface-level inspiration for a character's concept, or representing different peoples and ethnicities, or even gender identities, are well outside of my capability at this moment. I am confident in the fact that I do not have those skills yet. And that's something that will take time for me to build up. And so all the stories that come from this version of me that is talking to you, the audience, right now, all the stories that I create as I am now will come from what I can do right now. And I will do my best. But I'm not going to try to do things that are so far out of my comfort zone that they cause me to stagnate yet again. And I want to have something, I want to be able to actually publish a book. That's the closest thing I have to a dream at this point. Because I don't really have much in the name of dreams. I have whims, fleeting wants. There's a point where I wanted to play the piano. But after a while, I realized that, no, that was just a knee-jerk reaction to something that I thought was cool and wanted to try, but knew that I wasn't going to stick with. And really, writing and art are the only two things that I want to pursue with all my heart and soul. Writing more so. Just a little bit, though. And I'm not confident in either of those skill sets to be able to step outside of my capabilities so far that I don't get better. Because if you focus so much on one thing, you neglect everything else. And I don't want to neglect any of my characters, any of my stories, any of the wonderful things that I've built up over these past few years. And I recently lost quite a few things, and I even lost my biggest story, the one that I've been writing for the past 5 years. I lost it. All I have is basic concepts, scrapped, retconned ideas, and a few characters that I just had on the back burner. Those are the few things that I managed to preserve. And I'm having to remake the entire story that I had spent the past 5 years trying to craft and master and create. I need to pop my back. And it's sad, because all of this could have been avoided. But such is life. Shit hits the fan, and when you can't do anything about it, that's it. I realized that the situation I was in, I couldn't do anything about. So I made the wise decision. Decided not to. Decided that in that scenario, inaction was better than reaction, because reaction would have only made the situation worse. So I chose inaction, and I chose to go and create something that I can be passionate about without conforming to the expectations of those who would have me corralled. It's sad. A lot of the people I've trusted have betrayed that trust. And some scenarios, the fault was mine. Others, far outside of my fault. And all I can say is that I did my best. And that I'm still moving forward and marching on. And I am moving with the world. I'm trying my best to move through life with my head held high, with a smile on my face, and being as honest and as genuine as I possibly can be in this world of ours that is filled with so much fallacy and falsehoods, where people are raised to believe that putting on an act is the only option, the only safety, that you have to be fake, that your entire life has to be a falsehood just so then you could have happiness to any extent. I reject that. I reject that idea. I want to be honest to all those around me. I'm an imperfect being, and people will judge me, because a lot of the things that I'm honest about are not what people want to hear. Some cases they're what they need to hear. Other cases they're selfish. But I do my best not to be selfish. I do my best to stand on the same level as the people around me. And I never want to be above them. I never want to be below them either. Equal footing. That's what I want. And I know I can't achieve that with what I have. But I also know I can't achieve that without. I also know that I can achieve that. It is achievable. that it is within my grasp. And so I'm going to work towards it. I want many things. Most of them fleeting, few of them lasting. Writing, art, love, lasting friendships. That's basically it. I may not be the most humble man at times, but I have humble dreams, humble desires. My environment that I grew up in made me docile. And I'm working to become less docile. But there were always times where I went so far in the opposite direction that I was selfish. And you know what? It's all about balance. It's all about balancing the scales. And finding that balance. Which is a really damn difficult thing to do. But hey, all I can do is try my best. So that's what I'm doing. And there were people that had out for me. And there were people that had stopped being my friends a long time ago. There were people that I trusted with all my heart and soul. And my reward for giving that trust was being spit in the face. At this point, I'll do my best. I'll write stories to the best of my ability. I'll do what I can to be inclusive. But I'm not going to bend over backwards. I'm not going to conform. I'm going to live by my own standards. By my own moral code. By my own rules. And I'm not going to let someone tell me that what I create has to be this or has to be that. I'm going to let my work speak for itself. And I'm going to let people do the smart thing. I'm going to let them interpret it however they want to. Because at the end of the day, it's not my place to shove my ideals and desires into the faces of those I write stories for. No. At the end of the day, I just want to create something that makes someone smile. And you know what? If that makes me a bad person, that I didn't pander to someone, that I didn't fulfill their hyper-specific needs, then I guess I'm evil in their eyes. So be it. They can condemn me however they see fit, but I will always be me. And I know what I'm trying to do. I know what I'm striving to do. And I know that no matter what rhetoric they use, no matter how far they go to try and silence me or shut me down, I'm still going to try. My persistence is one of my best and my worst qualities. So, I see no point in giving up. We are all human beings. We're a diverse bunch. Our species spread out all over the world, having adapted and genetically mutated to fit our environments in such wonderful and unique ways that are all superior and yet lesser and yet equal to everyone else around them. There's not a single human being that is different from the other. Like genetics is science. Science is based on logic. And really, why should we judge people by their genetics? It's worthless. It's meaningless. And why should we judge people by who they are? We should not judge people by what they are, but rather who they are. By what they choose to be. Because, well, not what they choose to be, who they choose to be. They can choose to be something horrible, but they could still have good intentions. And I'm going to judge them by that. By who they are. What the person on the inside, what their heart is, the shape of their soul. That's what I'm going to judge. I'm not going to judge them by their gender identity, their lifestyle choices, or even such inane things such as skin color. That's worthless. All of that, it's worthless to judge someone by those means and standards. So, because of that, I'm going to write stories that include everyone and no one. Those characters are characters, they're not people. They don't reflect anyone in the real world. And even though I may use names and places and references, it's just that. Names, places, and references. Nothing so big or egregious that I should be judged by it or my work should be judged by it. Because it's just a character, it's just a story, dude. Hate it if you want. Love it if you want. At the end of the day, your opinion is your opinion. I'll judge you by that. Because your opinion is an extension of who you are. Not what you are. So I encourage everyone, all of you who took the time out of your busy days to watch this video, that you sit, you think with yourself, and you ask yourself, am I really who I want to be? And what standards do I measure myself by? Those are the questions that I want you to ask. I would be deeply honored if you do. Well, that's all for me for now. I feel like I went way off the subject that I wanted to cover, but I feel like this was more important. And I feel like I got the message out that I wanted to get out, but I needed to get out. For my own sake and for the sake of others. For the sake of all the people that may have needed to hear the words of a eccentric madman over the internet. As a wise man once said, "Smile, my friend, you're never fully dressed without one." And so, I bid you adieu. This has been my New Year's special. I have been the Luckless Storyteller, and I hope you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and post notifications. If you want, doesn't matter. Choose to do what you want. And I'll see you next time. Arrivederci.